Salatu vesselamu ala Resulina Muhammedin seyyidina Muhammedin ya Resulullah ve Resulullah ve Sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem. Resulun ve inşallah feytasa şemhalina muhtemelen tarikatun ve sahbu ve hayru fil camiye. Allah'a şükür mübarek ayet teşrik.
We are thankful to Allah Almighty that He has made us and allowed us to reach this blessed month we find ourselves in.
Ocak ayı Allah'ın sevdiği aylardan.
The blessed month, the sacred month of Rajab, is a month which Allah Almighty loves.
Allah Azze ve Celle'nin benim ayımdır.
And it is the month which Allah Almighty declared, the month of Rajab is my month.
İşte bir hafta oldu şimdi bugün.
Now 1 week has passed since the month of Rajab has begun.
Allah'a şükür bu bereketli aylardır.
And this month and the month we find ourselves in, the month ahead, are months abundant with blessings.
Allah Azze ve Celle müminlere fırsat veriyor.
Allah Almighty gives opportunities to the believers.
Her zaman insanlar daha fazla sevap kazansın diye.
Each and every time Allah Almighty gives new chances and opportunities to the believers so that they may obtain even more rewards.
Mübarek günler, mübarek aylar.
Thus, they are blessed sacred days, they are sacred months.
Her şeyi fırsat veriyor insanlara.
And by means of these sacred seasons and times, Allah Almighty gives us possibilities and chances to obtain more blessings and rewards.
Alın bu cevherlerden.
Take from my treasures. Take from these treasures, Allah Almighty says.
Bu nimetlerden al.
Benefit from these blessings.
Bu bereketlerden.
Take from these divine favors and gifts.
İstifade edin diyor.
Benefit from these grants, Allah Almighty says.
Yok biz istemeyiz diyorlar.
But people say, no, we don't like.
Yok. Hiç haberleri bile yok. Haberler olsa bile.
People are even unaware of these blessings.
İstemeyiz diyorlar.
And even those who are aware of them, they say, we don't want them.
Biz şey istiyoruz. Gübre istiyoruz. Fışkı istiyoruz.
We want soil, we want earth, we want dung.
Zehir istiyoruz.
We want poison.
Kötü şeyler istiyoruz diye.
We want bad things.
Bu nimetleri bırakıp.
And by saying this, they then leave these blessings and grants and favors by Allah Almighty.
Kötü şeylere insanoğlu gidiyor.
And thus, humankind runs after bad things.
Yani o akıllı şey değil, ondan sonra da akıl.
This is not an act a reasonable person with a mind would do. Yet they claim to be people of reason.
Akıllı diye geçiniyorlar.
They think of themselves to be very clever or intelligent ones.
Bunu yapanları beğenmiyorlar.
And they despise those who try to benefit from the blessings and favors by Allah Almighty.
Beğenmezler, mühim değil.
And it's not important whether they despise them or whether they ridicule them. This doesn't play any role.
Bizim en mühim şey Allah bizi beğensin.
We do not need to please them. All we strive for is to make Allah Almighty be pleased with us.
Biz zaten kendimizi beğenmiyoruz tabii de.
And we don't want them to like us necessarily. It's enough for us if Allah Almighty likes us. We don't like ourselves either.
Allah beğensin.
We are not satisfied with ourselves either. It's enough for us that we are in a state that Allah Almighty accepts us.
Rahmetine, merhametine, onun ikramına.
May Allah Almighty accept us and embrace us with His mercy, with His generosity and His divine favors.
Talibiz, o da veriyor.
And we are asking for Allah Almighty's favors and His mercy, and He keeps bestowing upon us His favors.
İkramından veriyor. Biz müstahak olmadığımız halde gene veriyor.
He blesses us with His favors, even though we do not deserve them. We are not worthy of them.
Ama istemeyenlere de o vakit onlar kendiler çekecek şeyler.
But those who reject these divine favors of Allah Almighty must know that they will have to undergo accountability.
Pişman olacaklar
and they will regret what they rejected.
ama pişman olacak vakit artık fayda etmeyen bir vakittir.
But when they reject, it will already be too late, and then there will be no return.
Pişmanlık olmaya fayda yok.
And then at that time when they regret, it's already too late, and it's no longer time for remorse or regret.
Allah Azze ve Celle verdiği nimetlere şükretmek
We need to be thankful and appreciate Allah Almighty's divine favors upon us.
lazım. O ikramlarından almak lazım.
And we need to benefit and take from what He gives to us.
Nasıl cömert insan bir şey verirse almazsan darılır.
Just think of a generous person who wants to give you a present, who wants to give you a favor or do you a favor, but if you do not accept, that generous person will take offense.
Allah Azze ve Celle de gene aynı şekilde.
And what do you think of Allah Almighty, the most generous one?
Nimetine kıymet vermezsen
He wants us to appreciate His divine favors.
Allah Azze ve Celle de darılır size.
But if we do not appreciate all these divine gifts and presents and favors, Allah Almighty will take offense.
Onun için bu mübarek aylar bize ikramdır.
And these sacred months we find ourselves now in, this sacred season, is a divine gift by Allah Almighty to us.
İstifade edebileceğiniz kadar ondan istifade edin.
We must benefit from this sacred time now as much as we can.
Namazlarınızı
By praying.
Namaz kılmayın, namaza başlasın.
Those who did not used to pray should start praying.
Hepsini yapamayan yavaş yavaş başlasın.
And even those who cannot do all their prayers, they should start step by step.
Oruca da birkaç gün kandillerde bari tutsun, onu tutsun.
And we should pay attention to fasting throughout these sacred times. And even if we do not fast every day, people may fast on the days of the sacred nights.
Yapan da pazartesi, perşembe tutsa.
Or you may fast every Monday and every Thursday.
Gene nafile oruçlardı bunlar ama.
These are of course voluntary fasts.
Çok büyük kıymet.
But there's great value in fasting in this sacred time we now find ourselves in.
Var. Sevabı var.
There's great reward to be obtained.
Sizin ahiretiniz için büyük bir definedir millet.
This is a great treasure you will be acquiring, and it's the treasure for your hereafter.
Define peşine koşturuyor şu millet, bütün nereye gidersen onun peşindedirler.
People, wherever they go, they're looking after treasures.
Halbuki esas kıymet cevher budur.
But the greatest treasure, or the actual real treasure, is this.
Bunun arkasına koşalım inşallah.
May Allah Almighty make us run after this true treasure.
Allah hayırlı mübarek eylesin bu
May Allah Almighty make it blessed.
ayları.
May Allah Almighty make these months to be a divine favor and blessings for us.
Onun kıymetini bilenlerden eylesin
And may Allah Almighty make us become those who appreciate these divine favors.
inşallah. Biz dediğimiz gibi bizim yaptığımız şeylerin kıymeti yok ama
And we admit that our deeds, they have no value.
Allah'ın ikramının kıymeti var.
But there's value in the divine favors and in the divine gifts by Allah Almighty.
Sen onun ikramını aldın mı sevinecek.
And us performing these deeds is an expression of appreciating Allah Almighty's divine favors, and it is through His divine favor that we perform these things, and Allah Almighty will be pleased when we accept this favor.
razı olacak senden.
And He will be satisfied with us.
Ve yani bizim iddiamız yok, bizim amellerimiz iyidir, kötüdür.
We do not have any claim. Our deeds do not have any value. They are neither good nor bad. They do not have any value at all.
Biz ondan değil de sırf Allah Azze ve Celle'nin rızası bize bunu takdim ediyor. Biz onun için.
But it is through the generosity of Allah Almighty that He Almighty enables us to do these things as His divine favor upon us.
Yapıyoruz. Yoksa bizim ne orucumuzda hayır var, ne
There is no goodness in our fast,
namazımızda var,
nor in our prayers.
ne hiçbir şeyimizde var.
There is no value at all in those things we do.
Allah affetsin bizi.
May Allah Almighty forgive us.
Ve minallah tevfik. El Fatiha.